major shake-ups in India's biggest political party, in the BJP's top decision-making body, the BJP Parliamentary Board, and also in the Central Election Committee. In both these decisions, Prime Minister Modi's stamp is clear, as is the Home Minister Amit Shah. In fact, the old guard, despite close links to the RSS, is out. I'll be joined by our reporters tracking that story. But let's just look at the various reactions coming in from those who are in and those who are out.
You see, it's a very big responsibility, Parliamentary Board and also Election Committee and other thing. Entire South India must tour, that is the expectation from the Prime Minister. I will try to go around in the southern India and build up the party.
JP नड्डा जी ने संसदीय बोर्ड की जो टीम बनाई है वो बहुत योग्य, समर्पित और विजनरी है और कई श्रेष्ठ कार्यकर्ताओं को नई टीम को भी सम्मिलित किया गया है.
Akhilesh, so this is really a shake-up which has many political messages. What are the big ones according to you?
Well, first message is of course about Nitin Gadkari, Sonia, because he is such a stalwart, he is such a tall leader of the party. He is liked by millions of the BJP workers because the kind of work he does. And despite that, he is being dropped from the party's highest decision-making bodies. Of course, there is several questions why this decision was taken about Nitin Gadkari. Though there is no reaction from him, but of course he will be annoyed because he was expecting a bigger role in the party and also in the government. So that's why it's a very curious decision, that dropping of Nitin Gadkari. Second decision, of course, about Yogi Adityanath, Sonia, because he is not included despite delivering UP to the BJP for the second time. He is not included, and there were demands by several BJP workers that he should be given a prominent role at the national stage, but he is not included in the parliamentary board. And of course, Shivraj Singh Chouhan pays the price, because Yogi, if you include Yogi, then Shivraj stays. But if you don't include Yogi, then Shivraj doesn't stay, because you can't have CM in the parliamentary board. So Shivraj Singh Chouhan is now also out. And of course, there is message about Devendra Fadnavis in the larger scheme of things in the poll panel. Of course, about Mr. Yedurappa, because he was preparing for retirement and now he is active again at the national stage, and he was asked to go because he was about 75. But now he is 77, he is actively involved in party's highest decision-making body. Sarvanand Sonowal is another surprise, because it's a kind of balancing act, because he quit his post for Hemanta Biswa Sharma as Assam Chief Minister, and Sharma, who is considered close to Amit Shah, now Sarvanand Sonowal will be part of the parliamentary board and will be, it's like a balancing act.
So also it very much establishes once again, I mean, there was no doubt about it, but the fact that Prime Minister Modi stands tallest amongst all, because of course for Nitin Gadkari, and I want to bring in Sohit on that, because there's also a message to the RSS, some observers would say, because Nitin Gadkari is seen as very close to RSS, of course, from Nagpur, where the RSS headquarters are. So it very clearly establishes PM Narendra Modi and then Amit Shah in the decision-making hierarchy. Akhilesh, first you, then Sohit.
No, of course, I mean, if you look at Narendra Modi's stature, he is now tallest among all the Sangh Parivar. You can call him, he's more senior than the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat, and he's senior than JP Nadda, of course, and he's heading the government. So, of course, it's a stamp Narendra Modi on the government, on the party, and also on the wider Sangh Parivar.
Sohit, what is the Maharashtra impact? Because again, and of course, there's also been the Nitin Gadkari, Devendra Fadnavis rivalry. So you've seen Devendra Fadnavis get a big promotion and Nitin Gadkari out of the party's key decision-making body.
Absolutely. In fact, Sonia, Devendra Fadnavis is also known to be very close to Narendra Modi, and when he was made the Deputy Chief Minister, one of the reasons that was being given is that Fadnavis was eyeing at the centre, and just to keep him in Maharashtra, he was made the Deputy Chief Minister. This was one of the things that was being discussed within the party as well. At the same time, now both of them come from Nagpur, both of them are known to be close to the RSS, but now Devendra Fadnavis is included in the election committee of the BJP, but at the same time, Nitin Gadkari, said to be the tallest leader of BJP in Maharashtra, is not included in the central committee of the BJP. A clear message. It also shows that in Maharashtra, if we talk about Maharashtra politics, Devendra Fadnavis, who is responsible to be back in the government as well as the Deputy Chief Minister, he is also the Home Minister, the Finance Minister. He today, in fact, also became the leader of the House for the BJP, and now he is also included in the election committee of the BJP, showing that he is the most powerful BJP leader in Maharashtra, not Nitin Gadkari, who was once even the president of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Right, and of course, also going across Alok to you, because Uttar Pradesh, now it's interesting, of course, that Rajnath Singh has stayed always. He's the one person of the old guard who survived. Rajnath Singh from UP staying on, and the expectation of Yogi Adityanath coming in. But as they say that with the analysts, that whatever you predict, the BJP and Prime Minister Modi especially does the exact opposite.
Well, you're absolutely right. Probably only Mr. Narendra Modi and Mr. Amit Shah know the reasons or for why this has been done, etc. But I do remember very distinctly that when Yogi Adityanath became the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh for the second time, there was much speculation that he would get that place in the parliamentary board. In fact, many newspapers had printed articles at that point of time. But as of now, while the BJP's local unit, Sonia, is not saying anything on record, there are those who will say that this is perhaps one way to cut Mr. Yogi Adityanath to size in a manner, politically I mean, because not only did he deliver Uttar Pradesh for the BJP, I mean he played a major part in it, since then by a host of decisions, including some controversial ones associated with bulldozers, his popularity seems to have grown in Uttar Pradesh, and that could be one reason why something like this has been done. The Chief Minister himself doesn't appear too perturbed. He's on a statewide tour. He's in Saharanpur today. He will be in Gorakhpur probably tomorrow. So he's carrying on with his usual activities. There are those who will also tell you that age is by his side, so there's no hurry, etc. But a very interesting decision for sure.
And of course, as Akhilesh said, the balancing act of Shivraj Singh Chouhan. So is perhaps the UP Chief Minister's time going to come later, because you can't do it at the same time as you drop Shivraj Singh Chouhan. Let's just see how this unfolds. But a major political decision with major impact expected in the party as well, as it's clear that the stamp of Prime Minister Modi now, as Akhilesh said, very much there on all these decisions.